Warehouse Arts District Association. And here joining me today on Giving Day is the president of the Warehouse Arts District, Mark Aeling. Mark has been on the board since its inception, and so he's got a real perspective on what it is that we've been doing here, and would like him to share some of his ideas as we move forward building our arts education. So, Mark, can you talk a little bit about the history of how we got to where we are?
Wow, sure. Hello, Teresa. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, Mark.
Let's see. How far back do you want me to go? All the way to the beginning?
I would say when we started to think about buying this piece of property.
That was 2015, and I believe the Warehouse Arts District was officially started in 2012. So I think the very first conversations happened at the end, maybe October 2011 might have been the first meeting you and I attended, Teresa. So
Yep.
In a couple of years after that, so the first major thing we did, I'm going to go back just a tiny bit further. The first major thing that we did was the trolley, and we revitalized Art Walk through the development of the trolley, which helped move people around the Warehouse Arts District. And after doing that for a couple of years, the St. Petersburg Arts Alliance took over those responsibilities and have done a great job finding sponsorship and so on and so forth. But when we first kicked off the trolley and we saw the success that we had in drawing attention to the district and to the artists that were here, we recognized the responsibility that we had through that action. And this pattern happens where, and it happens in many communities throughout the United States and internationally, but artists move into rundown parts of town because they're inexpensive. And their creative energy attracts attention, and that attention brings with it development, and development increases prices, and the artists get pushed out. And it makes creative communities inherently nomadic because of that. And because Pinellas County is one of I think it is the most developed county in the state of Florida, there wasn't a lot of places for artists to go. So we decided that we needed to be proactive. And it was actually Rob Kapusta and myself who came up with the idea of trying to purchase the piece of property where my studio was. And I had about 4,000 square feet of a warehouse on a compound. The Arts Exchange has about 3 acres and 50,000 square feet of space. And it was a scenario where it was way too big for me to afford as an individual artist. But working with Rob, who is a very savvy, creative, financial person, as well as an attorney, he came up with a strategy to use the 501c3 and purchase the property through grants and donations. And that started the initial fundraising process, which got us, I think, about $350,000 in 6 months. That allowed us to pay the down money on the property and begin to cover some of our soft costs for the first round of development, which was the Arts Exchange Studios as they currently exist in phase 1, which brought, I think, 28 studios online and an upstairs classroom space and the gallery space. So that was really the birth of how that portion came together. And now we've moved forward from there, and we've demoed some buildings, and we've got a monument that's on its way that'll be on the front of the facility, and we've managed to get the plaza completed. And we had a great art walk with artists in tents on the plaza. It was super exciting. And we've got the capital together through a variety of sources, including a HUD grant, to put our education center together. And that's where we are now. And what we're working on is getting that education center done.
I cannot hear a word you're saying.
Were you able to hear any of that, Teresa?
I did. I'm sorry. I just had a minor technical difficulty. Of course, this happens when you're doing things live. So as we're obviously entering a new phase where we're going to have raised enough money through grants from the Housing and Urban Development, City of St. Petersburg, the Downtown St. Pete Partnership, and a number of very generous individuals and organizations, so that we're going to be breaking ground early February on the new Art Center. So, and we're raising money specifically to try to buy the furnishings for that. So can you talk a little bit about the value you see in arts and arts education, and I would say especially for children?
Absolutely. So, we recognized this as soon as we took on the project of the Arts Exchange. We recognized how important it was as a community redevelopment tool, and it has to do with where the Arts Exchange is located on the 22nd Street corridor at Fifth Avenue South. It really functions as a bridge to link the Deuces Live with that Central Avenue corridor, and we see all this development coming out of downtown and moving up Central, and the Warehouse Arts District is really strategically placed to help revitalize the Deuces and the Midtown area. And one of the key parts of that is bringing education opportunities in, and those are opportunities that are both for children, for students, and also for adults. So we have 3 classrooms that will be coming online, and a dance studio, really nice dance studio with a spring-loaded dance floor, and we'll be able to do all sorts of physical engagement through that space, from traditional dance to yoga and aerobics and all sorts of physical activity. And we see the 3 classrooms functioning in basically 3 branches of education, and one of those will continue to support our primary educational push that we started from the very beginning of the Warehouse Arts District, which is to educate artists on better understanding of business and how to make a living as an artist. We've been doing classes and seminars along those lines for years now, and we're going to be expanding into after-school programming for at-risk youth and summer art classes as well. That'll be very community-driven, and also for adults, adult art programming. So the adult population can get access to art opportunities and creative experiences. The creative process is such a vital aspect of human development, both in children and adults, that we feel we have a really great opportunity to share the wealth of this creative community with the other portions of the community. So we're finally at a place where we can get that education center off the ground. We've got the funds together for the physical plant, and right now we're looking at all of the fundraising money for all of the components that go into the individual classrooms, from desks and chairs and AV equipment. And we find ourselves right now talking remotely through a digital platform, and that is going to, this past year has influenced our perspective on education, and we want to be able to have technical capacity to be able to record courses and to educate remotely as well. So these are all things that have great potential and great opportunity for the community, but they cost money. So everything that we do as a not-for-profit is driven through grants and donations, and that's why we're talking here today.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and giving a perspective of the journey that you and I and many others have gone through together. And hopefully we'll be able to raise the money so that we can furnish the Arts Education Center the day that it's completed. Thanks again, Mark. Appreciate your time. Take care.
Yes, thank you, Teresa. I really appreciate it. And thanks for being with us from the beginning.